At this time, I recognize the gentleman from Oregon, Mr. Schrader, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here, Madam Administrator. I appreciate it
Great to
very
be
much.
here. Thank you.
I'd like to talk a little bit about Superfund site administration and funding. As you may or may not know, Portland Harbor is designated a Superfund site as of 2000. It's a little bit unusual in that both the business community, people that may have contributed to some of the problems there, as well as others in the community have stepped up, a collaborative effort to try and deal with this. It's been, almost 16 years now. We've gone through 10 different administrators. The goalposts have changed depending on which administrator in our region comes in. The staff, there's been a tremendous turnover in staff, and it's been difficult to deal with these moving goalposts. We now have somewhat unrealistic standards regarding fish consumption, which seems to be the indicator species that we're trying to grapple with, trying to work with the agency on. But it's difficult. As a scientist, veterinarian, I look at these things through a scientific prism and want to have these standards based on good science. But even beyond that, it would appear that the current regional administration has their own mindset about what's going to be done regardless of what's being talked about by the collaborative partners in our region. And we're having trouble getting this decision in, I think it was middle of 2013. There was a promise of additional help from the folks here in D.C. to maybe move things along at an accelerated pace. And again, in January, there was a discussion with our own Department of Environmental Quality working with folks in D.C. to help augment Region 10's ability to get the job done. Yeah. So I guess basic questions here. The decision was supposed to be coming here in 2016. We've heard it's going to be put off to 2017. We've been hearing this for a lot of years, Madam Administrator, and the uncertainty creates a big problem for economic development in our region. If we're trying to get people back to work, if we're trying to do the right thing for the environment, the sooner we get this decision done, the sooner we can decide whether or not it's economically feasible to work along the Portland Harbor. I'd like to think that both of them are not mutually exclusive. But again, what we're hearing from Region 10 would seem to indicate it is mutually exclusive, going to the highest cost alternative in terms of remediation rather than some of the other remedial efforts that are actually out there. So basically want to know, is 2017 the best case scenario, and can we hold, with all due respect, the agency's feet to the fire and get a record decision by 2016.
I know that Portland Harbor was an issue that came up during my confirmation process and the interest in this. And Dennis McDonough, who's our regional administrator, is actively involved in this issue in a way that tries to make sure that it's moving forward. And so I know that we're putting the resources to this, and we'll continue with this discussion. I think we have turned a better corner.
Good.
I know that we're not only looking at making sure that we get the cleanup correct. Did I say McDonough? Sorry. Yeah. Dennis McDonough is the Chief of Staff of the President.
Of the United States.
He didn't take on added responsibility since my confirmation. Dennis McLaren, I apologize. We are looking at ways that while we may need more time to explore the final cleanup, the record of decision on this, that we will have sites ready and moving forward regardless of when that decision gets made. So we will get that decision made as quickly as possible, but we are also getting all the preliminary steps ready so that we can continue to move forward and not sequentially think about these issues. And I think we're working really hard with Oregon to make sure that that's the case so that we don't lose any time in this process.
Well, with all due respect, we've lost a lot of time. And I'm not convinced the current Region 10 administrator shares your enthusiasm for getting this thing done in a timely manner. And the biggest concern I have is here you got a collaborative partnership willing to step up, and yet they're getting what I would perceive beaten up on a regular basis with unrealistic requirements and expectations. Here's a group that could be a shining example of how the process could actually work, and your continued attention I appreciate.
You will have it. Thank you.
Another issue in my state, of course, is wood products. We're a big, well, we'd like to be a big wood producing state. That doesn't seem to be possible anymore. That's another topic for discussion. But for the wood that does come out, there's a wood composite industry that's pretty viable, like to be more viable, and they've been waiting for the formaldehyde standards for composite wood products. The rule was supposed to be done in 2013. It's now 2 years later. Again, economic uncertainty is the enemy of business. Most businesses can adapt as long as they know what the rules of engagement are. Can you tell me what the status of the regulation is, when it's going to be finished, and is the President aware of final sign-off yet?
I certainly am aware of the challenge that we've been facing in getting this rule finalized, particularly as it has to do with laminates.
Yes.
And our ability to be able to address what is potentially a significant source of emissions, but do it in a way that's viable and effective for the industry moving forward. We are looking very hard at how we resolve that issue so this rule can come out. And I do know that we need the certainty that you're discussing, and I'll go back and see if we can continue to address this issue and get it out across the finish line.
Right.
It has been since 2013, but this has not been without its challenges, and we keep trying to develop a testing method that will work and be cost effective, but it remains a challenge for us, but we'll see if we can't get it moving.
Well, thank you very much. Work with the industry. I think they are on your team in terms of wanting to get this done. So thank you very much, and I yield back.
Thanks.
Gentleman yields back.